Welcome back, 7th graders. All right, just like I said, we have our atmosphere, right? And we can break it down into different pieces and look at what each of those specific pieces does. So our atmosphere can be divided up into the troposphere. It's the very first one, it's closest to us. Our stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, and way out here we have our ionosphere. So let's start with what's closest to us, and that would be the troposphere. So where do we live? We live in the troposphere. It is the closest to Earth. It is 80% of the total mass of the atmosphere. So remember we have talked about the density and where most of the mass is found? Well, most of the mass is found right here in the troposphere. This is where we see clouds and weather, and we also see that the temp decreases with altitude. So what happens as you go up a mountain? Well, it gets colder, right? Exactly. So moving on up, we are going to see the stratosphere, also known as the ozone layer. What does ozone do for us? Well, ozone helps absorb those harmful UV rays that we don't want. So we're going to talk about the ozone hole and why that's a bad thing. Remember to look at the poster up in my classroom, and you can look at the way that the ozone hole is growing. And we find that here in the stratosphere. Now this is a little bit different. In the stratosphere, the temperature rises slightly with the altitude. So as we go up, it actually gets a little bit warmer. Why might that be? Think about that one. We do find planes here, so some planes will fly up into the stratosphere because it's a little bit less of a rocky pathway. It's a little bit more stable. So, moving up from the stratosphere, we have the mesosphere. The mesosphere is very, very, very thin. It's a very thin layer, and it decreases, the temperature decreases as you rise. So once again, as you get up, it gets a little bit cooler. Well, why does this happen? Well, it happens because it's heated from the stratosphere. So the stratosphere takes all of that energy it's absorbed and kind of warms up that mesosphere. Well, what do we find in the mesosphere? Why is it there? Well, most meteors burn up here. All right, they don't really last past the mesosphere. And moving right along, we have the thermosphere. Why do we keep Why do we keep soup in a thermos? To keep it warm, right? Well, think about the thermosphere as that thermos. It is hot, very, very, very hot. And the temperature, it keeps going up as you rise. And this is where we see the Aurora Borealis, which is our northern lights. They are found in the thermosphere, and like I said, it is very, very hot. It can get thousands of degrees up in the thermosphere. So, wouldn't really want to be caught there. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the exosphere versus the ionosphere. So this is the outer portion of our atmosphere. It's there at the tippy top. The exosphere is anything beyond the thermosphere. So it is going out into space. Now, why do we talk about the ionosphere? The ionosphere is kind of an outer overlapping layer that affects the transmission of radio waves. So that's really important for us now with all the technology that we have. We need to understand how the radio waves are being affected by the ionosphere. So let's review. What are our different layers of the atmosphere? Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, and ionosphere. You've got this, so keep calm and rock on, Hilburn Hawks.